Hey, what's up guys, it's TBone here and welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So it's preview day for the upcoming event, Lunar New Year's Celebration, because this is going to be an event that will carry through February 5th, which happens to be Chinese New Year. So the cards this time are going to be the boars, because it's going to be the year of the boar, and so all the cards this time are some form of pigs, boars, what have you. And let's take a look at the cards this time and see what skills they bring to the event. Now, one of the things that I do have to say and recognize is that the cards for the events have typically been pretty much the same over the last few events. We're 2 events away from completing the cycle. That means after next event, which is a Fire Commander event, we'll be going back to the Water Slayer event, and that will be a full cycle of the new meta. So I'm interested to see what kind of changes they'll bring, because right now the cards basically have very much the same battle skills. If we take a look at the support card, which is Assault Unit Yuju, you can see that the battle skill here is another gem spawner, so it will create 6 gems, and it does something a little different. It places a light gem trap for a turn, so that means if you get hit the next turn, then it will generate another 6 gems. So this type of gameplay is for this kind of cards. You have to make sure that if you want to maximize your gem output, you activate this skill the turn before you get hit. And in a Slayer event, that means every 2 turns is when you should activate it. So that's something to keep in mind here. It doesn't have any heals, and it has a cooldown of 4 turns. And note that this card is a support card that will dispel Power Gem Silence, which is nice because we don't typically see a support card that does dispel that. So but it is something that you will have to deal with. So that's something to consider as well. Then we have the Swine Lord Junfa. So that's the main event card. And this is a defender type card, and all of these cards are technological, so it does get the boost from your technological relics. And it's a defender card, so that means it's going to have higher health. So you can see here at basically 5 times awakened, fully maxed out, is going to be at over 20,000 health. So it's a very high health card to give you some more added survivability. And this card has pretty much the same skill here. It creates 4 light power gen once, and then it will attack up to 1,000% of the health. So it is higher health card, and so the nuke damage is going to be higher, except because it's a capped intensity at 300 Slayer intensity, it's really not going to compare to the previous nuke cards we've seen, but it will do better. So you are going to be able to see this card deal maybe hundreds of millions of damage, which will be helpful, but isn't going to be enough to take down the bosses. And so this card will dispel fear. So fear is what you consider a buff to the boss, and there are some cards in the game right now that can benefit from dispelling buffs on a boss, and fear is one of them. And we can take a look at some of the other cards that actually has this sort of mechanic in place. But cards that will dispel it would be Andasha or Pumpkin Queen. You can dispel it and also get some heal from that. And if we take a look at some of the cards now, so if we take a look at the Master Collection card, so May the Pitiless. So this card is a card that will generate 4 Power Gen 4, so it's very much consistent with pretty much how the Master Collection cards behave. And it also has a cost this time. So I can see why they did it, because normally when you have a cost to activate a battle skill for a Master Collection card, you typically get more. You get more out of it, like 6 Power Gen 4s or 8 of them. But the reason why I think it costs 25 to use these 4s because there's a couple of passes. So the first one is this card will give you a revive. So instead of dying, it will revive, and it does heal up to 1,000% of heal recovery. The only thing is this card is a warrior card, so the recovery isn't really that high. So even though you get 1,000% of the recovery, you're really going to be gaining about, at level 1, about not even 4,000 health. And if so you're not going to be able to get the full health regeneration, and you don't get anything else. You don't get additional power gems, you don't get a power boost. So this is a very basic revive, but regardless, it is a card that gives you revive if you don't have one already. It has another passive that will give you a reduction of damage taken by 5% for 3 turns, and it's one of those things where it has a 5 turn cooldown. And so it doesn't really do anything. It's a 5% damage increase, which I guess if the boss hits hard enough, it could probably give you survivability for one turn. But I just feel like it's not very impressive. Like I would have liked to see this at least 10%, if not 15%, for this kind of card. But and this card will dispel chaos. But as we all know, dodge. As we all know, Master Collection card the dispel doesn't actually have any effect for the event that it's in, so we won't worry about that. Finally, we can take a look at the ultra rare card, which is Rampaging AUY. Now, I'm going to take this opportunity and talk about what I think about the card, that is coined ultra rare. I've been thinking about this for the last few events now. So let's take a look at the battle skill first. So the battle skill here will create 2 light power gem 2s, and you do become immune to damage for a turn. And this is at 5 stars, so I'm not sure whether it creates power gem 3s or if it creates more power gem 2s at 6 stars, but it does have a cooldown of 7 turns. And it's got a passive skill, so whenever an enemy will cast a buff, so whenever it casts a buff, it'll heal for 750% heal recovery. Now here's the thing, right? It only works if the enemy casts buff. Very important to take note here. So something like Fear or Might is considered a buff to the enemy. And the way you can tell is you'll see the icon next to the boss itself. If it's a debuff, it's going to be an icon that will appear above your cards. And so if you look at the sort of the cards that if you look at the boss and you look at what they will cast, we have Alacrity, we have Fear, and then we have Power Gem Silence. 2 out of the 3 things that they cast are actually considered debuffs. So only Fear is the one that will matter here. So you only will get a heal if you fight a boss that will cast Fear. And that's when you're going to get a heal. But it's 750% of the heal recovery, which again is pretty minimal given that this is a warrior type card. Now if this was a seer type like we saw in the previous event, your heal is going to be much more substantial, so you're not really getting a lot of heal here, and it only works for one of the 3 bosses you're going to fight in this event. Granted, there is going to be future viability, so it's not all about this current event, but the thing is, we coined this card the ultra rare, and I've been thinking about this a lot, and that is it's just not good enough for me to be considered an ultra rare card that costs a lot more to get. You have the 17 luck mechanism put in place because you could potentially spend hundreds of dollars trying to get this card. But the thing that you get from it, the skills that you get, isn't much better than other cards you can get. I mean, it has a 7-turn cooldown with immunity, which is something you get with other support cards in the past. And so you already have that ability, and it's not very impressive in terms of the skill that the power gems you get, and the heal is abysmal. So to me, I would have rather seen this card with more beefed up battle skill. Like, I'm okay with it being a ultra rare card. I just would like to see it with more more skills, something more flashy, something that's worthy of being called an ultra rare card. Otherwise, just make it the same as any other event card with the same drop rate, and let's call it good, right? So we have these cards, and this is something that mattered a lot more in the past. But with the new meta, with the changes in the battle skills, I just feel that hey, let's think a little bit more about why do these cards exist, how does it work into the deck, and what benefit does it bring. As of right now, it doesn't seem to actually, justify the cost for it. But there are a couple good things about it. If you take a look at the notes, the thing that you notice is that you can now get the ultra rare card in tier 1 again. So I'm not sure if they've mentioned it here, but that is the change that they're bringing back. So you'll have a chance, a 6.5% chance of getting the ultra rare card in tier 1. So that is a nice thing. And because it is a VIP appreciation week, if you have a VIP subscription, you are guaranteed to get the ultra rare card by tier 6 of the pack. But then again, is it worth it to get a card that simply gives you an immunity for a single turn? What you're getting really is the empowered card. That means you get a times 10 bonus to the affinity, so you get more damage. But then you could simply get another support card to do the same thing. So it's been on my mind for a while. I just feel like it no longer is cost effective for me to try and chase after an ultra rare card. Now, if there's a chance that it's going to be available in tier 1, great. We can get that, something for cheap, but it's not a card that I would ever recommend that you go up to tier 6 or higher to chase. So that's just my thoughts on it. And so while I'm here, one of the things I do want to talk about though is something that's going to be the norm moving forward, and that is the collection heroes and the importance of these. So there's a couple of cards in here that I think are really, really good. One is Holy Wing. So Holy Wing is an ultra rare card from way back, and his skill will basically turn your deck into a Gemfall deck every single turn, depending on your Dren intensity. So this card will work extremely well with previous light Dren Slayer deck with Dina as the Master Collection card. So imagine you can use that card, and with Holy Wing in place, you're always going to be able to do power gem matches plus a bunch of Gemfall to get additional gem damage. So if you get Holy Wing, it's a very good card to pair with your Dren cards if you have it. And obviously Daniil is also available, and I will show you Daniil just to kind of talk about the card here. This is another card that will be very helpful because if you lack any cards that create power gems, this is a card that will be able to create columns of rainbow power gems. Granted, it doesn't fill up the whole board, but it helps. If you don't have any cards that can generate power gems, this card will be helpful. You just need to get some other light gem spawners to be able to overwrite the deck so that you can get more damage out of there. These type of cards haven't typically been available in the collections, and now that we're finally getting these in the collections, it makes the deck building a little bit better and a little bit easier. And I'm looking forward to future events where they really start thinking about what cards from previous events could be paired up with a current event with a new meta, so that you get the best of both worlds. A set of cards that give you really the empowerment with the additional damage boost, and also the power gem spawning ability that these current the current meta lacks. So for new players and also older players alike, getting access to these cards through the collection, through starter packs, through revival packs, are really good opportunities to really make the experience a little bit better. Otherwise, just going through the same mechanic week after week with these event cards and having no other way to get a lot of damage doesn't make it fun. So that's my thoughts about it this week. I'm not sure what other changes are going to be here. We will take a look in the next the next video and see what's going to be available in terms of what the collections are going to be like, and also what other changes or what other surprises might be in store. So this is basically my view of the upcoming of the cards this time. I do have some opinions about it, and I'm just kind of sharing with everyone. Hopefully this is helpful. I think in terms of the what card is the best to get, obviously it's going to be the Master Collection card here. And to me, the main event card, not terribly impressed with it. Not a card that I would be upset about if I don't get, because I think that getting 2 support cards in this case might actually be more worth it than getting an event card if you had to spend the gems to get it. So that's my take on the cards here. And of course, my feeling about the ultra rare card this event. Don't go after it if you don't need to. You don't need to, so don't go after it unless you really, really want to. That's what I should say. So anyways, that's all for this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.